got me. I'm back at it again with the double features. Just when I'm already set up to record and stuff, and usually I do it like when I have like quite a bit of time, so I've got like not that much else to do. Anyway, so yeah, I just did my first video since having jaw surgery on this channel, and that was an Am I the A-hole video, and I thought for this one we could take a look at dating advice. Let's get straight into it. So, girl I'm seeing told me the reason why she's in therapy, not sure how to proceed. So for the last 3 months, I, 21-year-old male, have been seeing this amazing girl who's 21-year-old female, and we've been having a great time together. I've spent a few nights at her house, but she's made it clear with her body language she isn't interested in sex, and I've respected that and I've waited for her to be ready. Good. Last night, I was at her house and she wanted to tell me why she's currently in therapy because she thought I should know. She told me that last March in 2023, she went out clubbing, got really drunk and lost her virginity to a friend of hers at the time. She said that he told her that they don't need a condom and she believed him because she was inexperienced. She got pregnant that night. That sucks. After 6 weeks of being pregnant, she decided to get an abortion at the end of April 23. After that, they were still talking until December, when they decided to become official and start a relationship. They broke up in February, so it only lasted a couple months, because he cheated on her. And we met in May. Okay. So it's currently August 2024. So last March is when this incident happened. Then in December, they said, you know what, let's fucking try and make a go of this. But it only lasted 2 months because he ended up cheating. And then 3 months later, the person that OP is seeing met OP. And they've been going out now for 3 months. Okay. During the conversation, she described him as a horrible person throughout everything and that she felt nothing but relief when he cheated because then she had the strength to end it. Okay? She also explained how unfair it is on her that she has to live with the pain of the abortion, but he doesn't have to, which I agree with her. She said they haven't spoken since, apart from one text he sent her on Mother's Day, saying Happy Mother's Day, and she told him she will never be able to block, and she told me she will never be able to block him. Why would you do that? Why would you get someone pregnant, they have an abortion, and then send them Happy Mother's Day? How fucking insensitive and stupid do you have to be to do that? My God, he sounds like a right dick. So anyway, she's currently in therapy and healing from the trauma of the abortion. She assured me multiple times that she's over him because he was a bad person, so it's only the trauma of the abortion she needs to heal, not the trauma that he caused. This has all been a bit too much for me to process, and I'm not sure how to proceed from here. I really like this girl and want to support her, but at the same time, her not blocking her ex and having past trauma make me believe that I'm going to end up hurt in the future. I'm just an inexperienced 21-year-old when it comes to dating. Any thoughts? Yeah, I do have thoughts. 1, someone not blocking their ex is not a red flag. 2, do you know, since I've lived in mainland Europe, I start my 1, 2, 3 with my thumb, which is a very like European thing, but in the UK we start it with the index finger. I've changed. Anyway, 1, not blocking your ex is not a red flag. 2, a person is not their trauma. So I don't think that you should be thinking like, oh God, this means I'm going to get hurt in the future. This is like my red flags. These are signs for me to like end it or whatever. No, I appreciate that you're still young yourself and you're inexperienced and that you're seeking advice here. So what was the question apart from any thoughts? Just said not sure how to proceed. You proceed like you were going to before, except you're just a little bit more sensitive now to what her trauma is. She's clearly willing to be open with you about it because she proactively said, hey, I think this might be relevant for you to know about, so I'm going to tell you. Keep in mind, throughout this whole time that you've known her, the past 3 months where you've been getting on great together and you really like her, this trauma has not been new. She's had that trauma the entire time. She's not blocked her ex that entire time. Nothing has changed with her telling you now. The only thing that's different is now that you know, but she's the same as she was before. So keep that in mind and don't write her off just because of these two factors. Like I say, the ex seems like a dick, but not blocking them doesn't necessarily mean anything. What I would take as maybe a something is that she said, I'll never be able to block him. I would dig into that a little bit deeper and just ask why that is, because she says that he's a bad person, she's over him, all the rest of it. To me, I wouldn't even mention it. I'd be like, whatever, this person's an idiot. I'm not going to reply to their messages. I don't need to block them because I don't think they're going to contact me again. I'm not going to contact them. There's no need. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't even mention it if it were me. But the fact that she specifically says, I don't think I'll ever be able to block him, I would just question that maybe a little bit. Like, I mean, literally question it. Like, ask her, not just wondering about it in your own head. Just to get that clear for you for a bit of comfort, you know. But regarding the trauma, I think unless she's given you a reason to doubt that what she's saying is true, just take it at face value. Just believe her that, you know, the stuff with her ex is one thing and then the trauma of the abortion itself is another. I mentioned actually just in the last video that giving up a child for adoption is not a small thing, having an abortion is not a small thing, and having a child is not a small thing. So yeah, I think it's good that you recognise that. A lot of people don't, from the way that they talk about it. They think like, oh, just have an abortion, it'll be fine. Like, it's not just fine. Like, it is a traumatic emotional and physical experience for the person having the abortion, and it's something that they'll be asked about on medical like history for like probably the rest of their lives. They'll be reminded of it all the time, so it's not an easy thing. So I would say that it's completely like legitimate that she would say like, I still have trauma from that. And yeah, like I say, how do you proceed? You proceed like you were going to proceed before, except you're just a little bit more sensitive to, you know, what she's told you. And yeah, I mean, at the same time, I would say like, if there's something that happens where you think it's because of these factors, either the trauma or the ex, I would say try and be a bit more understanding of that, try and give a little bit of slack, but at the same time, don't let yourself get like walked all over. You know, don't put yourself in a bad situation just because you're trying to be nice about someone else's situation. There is a happy medium where you can be sensitive but also stand up for yourself. So I don't know what that situation would be, but I'm just pointing it out because I have a habit, me personally, of prioritizing the other person and completely fucking myself over for their benefit. So don't do that. But otherwise, I wouldn't quite go as far as to say it's a non-issue because that seems to belittle it a little bit, but it doesn't have to be an issue. Okay? Awesome. Next one. Shot my shot as a woman. Hello everyone, I'm a 20-year-old female and just DM'd this guy who's a 20-year-old male that I've been following for a while now since high school and told him that I thought he was so fine. I hope you didn't use those words. My problem now is that if I wake up tomorrow morning and my message is not received well, I would just like some advice and reassurance that what I just said to him was not embarrassing. I won't lie, I'm an attractive woman and I just always hear how men aren't experiencing women shooting their shot, so I just gave it a try. I don't normally do this, so I'm heavily overthinking, just hoping it doesn't backfire and my anxiety doesn't spike. TLDR, I shot my shot with a guy over Instagram DMs and I'm wondering if I should be ashamed in the event that he doesn't receive it well. Bitch, no, what have you got to be ashamed of? The only thing I will say is that you want to know that what you said to him was not embarrassing. Did you literally just say, I think you're so fine? Because that is embarrassing. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Update, he ended up disliking the message, which I feel neither good or bad about. To be honest, I didn't ask him out or anything, so I guess I didn't set up the situation well. Exactly. Like, if you didn't actually say something that's worth replying to, kind of what do you expect? Because then what you're doing is you're actually transferring the onus of the starting the conversation onto the other person, which is not good, whether they like you or not. Yeah, just happy I did it. Also would like to thank everyone for your kind words, much appreciated. But yeah, see this whole thing of like, I understand and I agree that the stereotype of most of the time women don't approach, it's the men that approach. I do agree that that's true, but I don't think that it should have to be. I don't think it should be the expectation. There's this episode in Friends where like Phoebe's saying to Rachel like, oh yeah, just ask him out, whatever, and Rachel says, is that not a little bit desperate? And Joey's like, yeah, that's like part of the attraction or whatever. I know it's just a comedy, but I disagree with that whole thing. Because I don't think that, why, if it's not desperate for a man to approach a woman, why is it desperate for a woman to approach a man? That's ridiculous. Don't be so stupid. And I also think that saying that it's part of the attraction that someone seems a bit desperate is fucking creepy as fuck. But it's just a comedy, so let's not take that too seriously. But yeah, you've got nothing to be ashamed of. I just like I say, I wouldn't message someone just being like, oh, you're so hot, or you're so fine, or you're really attractive. Because what the fuck are they supposed to say to that? Like I say, you're putting the onus on them to fire up a conversation with you. I just don't think that that's like... I think that a fucking heart is the best that you could have hoped for in that situation. But even if you got rejected, it doesn't mean that you should be ashamed, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it again. Everyone faces rejection, whether they like it, admit it or not, or whatever. Everyone at some point will be rejected in their lives, and there's nothing wrong with that. Happens. Next. Should I tell my crush that I got in shape just to date her? I'm going to be honest, I feel like it's sad that that's what you did in the first place. But let's not try and be immediately too judgmental and just like read a little bit, okay? Hello everyone, as the title suggests, I lost 85 pounds this year in order to ask my crush out on a hiking date. She's super adventurous and loves physical activities. We clicked in every other aspect, but she wasn't physically attracted to me as she's not into fat guys. How do you know that? However, she's recently been complimenting my appearance a lot. She's moving to another state tomorrow, and I've been debating whether or not to tell her that I got in shape just to date her. Would a woman be flattered by this, or would it creep her out? Edit, thank you so much for your input. Y'all really saved me from making her uncomfortable. I'm going to keep this to myself and just say my farewells tomorrow. I genuinely appreciate all the responses. Okay, so seems to be that the internet said, yeah, that's kind of creepy, or that's going to make her uncomfortable. Won't say that. Like I said, how do you know that she's not into fat guys? Did she explicitly tell you that? Did you ask her out and she said, sorry, I'm not physically attracted to you because of your weight? That's the only way that you can definitively know. And even then she might be lying, do you know what I mean? But that's really the only way that you could know that that's true. Like I say, I think it's kind of sad that someone would change their bodies for another person. Like whether that's like losing weight, getting plastic surgery, changing your hair colour, whatever it is. I think that one should only change oneself for oneself. Don't change yourself for another person. Not only do I not think that it's very nice to do that, because you shouldn't put so much weight into what someone else thinks of you, and it shouldn't take that change for them to like you. But also I think that unless you're doing it for yourself, the change is probably not likely to last. Because then as soon as that you like lose interest in that person, or that person like and leaves your life, or whatever the case may be, then you have no more motivation for that change. And who's to say that that change is a positive one? You know what I mean? So I that's why I find it a little bit sad. I probably wouldn't mention it to her because you're not dating. She's about to move. What would be the point in you saying this to her? If the point is for her to go out with you, don't say that, just ask her out. If the point is just to let her know, what for? What do you expect to get back in return? How do you expect her to feel? You know what I mean? If you were dating already and it was one of those things like, actually, like, yeah, I wasn't sure whether to tell you, but actually, like, part of the reason I lost weight was, you know, because I knew that it was a thing for you and I really wanted to go out with you, so I wanted to make the effort and change that. But again, I would say that that's part of the reason. I don't think that should be the whole reason. If that's the whole reason, you got to look inside yourself a little bit. But if it's just part of the reason, like I wanted to anyway, and this gave me the kick up the butt, fair enough. And if you're already dating the person, I think it's okay to mention that because of the type of relationship and communication that you have together. But if you're not dating, what would be the benefit to anyone? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but it seems like you already pretty much got that advice. So, but yeah, just be like, regardless, like work on yourself a little bit, like on the inside, you know. And I don't mean like that you're not like an attractive person on the outside, or that you're not attractive on the inside, or that you're insecure or whatever. I just mean that, you know, change should be for you, not for someone else. You get what I mean. Anyway, next one. Guy got turned off because I said, take me to your room, question mark. I went on a first date and everything was going well. It was getting late And I had a flight the next morning and we were having conversation and laughing. So I said, okay, take me to the room, let's go. Take me to the room or take me to your room? Anyway, once in the room, I removed my dress and we started kissing, but he simply said, nah, I'm not feeling it, and asked me to go home. He said it was because he didn't like that I was too direct with my words. Does that make sense? Edit, I just want to add more context. It was a long date. We started with dinner, then drinks, then went to a strip club with his friend, then finally back to his apartment. I'm a good-looking woman, small and slender with a pretty face. Why is that relevant? 2, we both agreed since the beginning that we were only looking for something casual. Okay, so it was kind of part of the expectation. He insisted on bringing me back to his apartment. I didn't push for that. My idea was only to get dinner, but we were having fun, so I agreed. Lastly, I'm actually very new to dating, and I was forward because I was nervous and didn't know how else to hide it. I see there's a lot of people getting triggered and assuming things about women in general. Okay. So let's just take this post for what it is. Got turned off because so you're not actually asking for advice, you're just saying, does that make sense? And what sense are you asking, if that makes sense? Do you mean like, is that legitimate? Like, is that a good reason? To me, again, see this whole thing of like, oh, women shouldn't be direct or whatever, or anyone shouldn't be direct. I think that's total bullshit. I think that's just like totally in line with like playing games, not communicating properly, and being immature. I think that if you're all fucking adults, why not be direct? Why not say what you mean? You don't have to be mean about it, you don't have to be creepy about it, but why not just say what you really think? Now, the thing about being too direct, so what you said was, okay, take me to the room, let's go. That is very direct and it's very forward. I don't see a problem with that, but where I can see that it's maybe a little bit off-putting is that it's just not particularly romantic or sexy. Like, it's not like, so shall we take this to the bedroom? Do you want to? It's like, okay, let's away, which is kind of takes you out of the moment a little bit. He said, nah, I'm not feeling it. I think you should go home. That's fair enough. That's him being direct. So if he's okay to be direct, why are you not okay to be direct? That could just be his preference in women, or he's just not comfortable with it, or it's what I said that it just took him out of the moment. You should ask him about that if you want to know. But yeah, he said that it was because he didn't like that I was too direct, so he's given you that feedback that it was because you were too direct. That's his problem. Like I say, you could have worded it differently, but if that's the kind of thing that you would say and someone doesn't like that, then that indicates to me that maybe you're not a good match. Which is fine, because you're only looking for something casual anyway, right? So it's not a big deal. Like I say, I don't see what relevance it is that you think that you're good looking, small, slender and pretty. If the guy was attracted enough with you to go out on a date with you and ask you back to his place, like, what difference does it make? But you didn't really ask a question apart from, does that make sense? So I don't really know what that question means. But let's move on. Next. Girl gave me her number. What's the best way to go about politely rejecting her? So it's a bit of an awkward situation. I was out and a girl came up to me, tapped me on my shoulder and basically just straight up asked if I was taken or not. I'm not used to women approaching me, so I was a bit flustered and I didn't want to lie about anything, so I said I was single. She just gave me her number, but in all honesty, I didn't have the heart to reject her, especially considering I've never done that before. What's the best way to go about this now? Do I just not say anything? Is it worse to text her and politely reject her? I'm not really sure what the right move is. Maybe some important context. This was at a place that I go to frequently and I've seen her there before too, so I'll likely spot her there in future. I think it's nice that you want to be nice about it. And it's good that you also added this context, because personally, I don't see anything wrong with it being like, okay, this person has given me an invitation by giving me their phone number. I do not accept that invitation by using that phone number. I think that's okay. I don't think that counts as ghosting, because again, it was just an invitation. It's not that you were messaging and then all of a sudden you disappeared. People use the term ghosting too, like, frequently. To me, like, in my experience, people, if someone stops replying for any reason, people call it ghosting. But that to me is not what ghosting is. Ghosting is we were having a conversation and all of a sudden you disappeared. Or I asked you something and then you never responded ever again. You know, it's actually fucking disappearing. But I don't think that not messaging someone who's giving you their number or not calling someone who's giving you their number, I don't think that's rude. I just think that's saying thanks but no thanks. But since you see her quite often in this place, then I probably would say, hey, it was nice to meet you the other night. Really appreciate you coming up to me and giving me your number. I know that's not an easy thing to do. However, I'm not really interested in anything more than friendship at the moment. Maybe next time we see each other, we can have a drink and a dance or something like that. But make it clear, I'm not interested in anything more than friendship. If you're not interested even in friendship at all, then just say, I'm not really interested in anything right now. You know, you don't have to be specific, just say, I'm not interested in anything right now. And leave it at that. You know, you don't have to get into too many details, just make it clear what your intention is. And that's it, really. I think that's fine. Next. So I matched with this girl online, and is this asking for advice? I noticed all her photos of her are in her yard. So I told her, it seems like you're always in your yard. No response. Then I added, no worries, I can relieve you of your gnome duties. Meaning I would take her out and away from her yard. Then I became unmatched. Am I doing it wrong? Was she offended that I had called her a gnome? Oh, was that what you were saying? I didn't get that from what you said, but okay. Edit, the first part of my bio is, certified weirdo here, my playlist is full of rap songs, so funny, even King Julian would twerk to them as at his rave parties. So if you match with me, you should be expecting a not normal convo to go down. A lot of people don't read the profiles. For me, when I'm like on these apps, what you write in your profile arguably influences me more than your pictures. Obviously the pictures do matter, but say for example someone like on the face of it, like literally on the face of it, looks like totally like, I don't like saying my type, but you know what I mean, I'm into it. If then I don't like what they say in the profile, I won't match with them. Equally, if someone is like, yeah, they're alright looking, but they've got a good profile, like what they've written, then like absolutely, that'll tip me over and I'll be like, yes please. But a lot of people don't read them. That's what I was getting at. Are you doing it wrong? Was she offended? Maybe she was offended, maybe she didn't like what you said. I think, like we mentioned before, you didn't ask her anything, you made a statement. It seems like you're always in your yard. What do you expect her to say to that? To me, that's like kind of a little bit putting her on the defensive already. Like, are you judging me for being in my yard? Are you saying there's a problem with me being in my yard? Are you saying that all my pictures are the fucking same? Like, so I can understand how that would put her on the defensive a bit. And then you've not even asked her a question or said anything like flirty. Like, you could say, for example, oh, seems like you're always in your yard. Must be a nice place to hang out. Maybe I can see it sometime. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of is a little bit like, yeah, I'm interested in you. But like, just it seems like you're always in your yard. What do you expect her to say? Yes, I am, or no, I'm not? How do you answer that, you know? And then you said, no worries, I can relieve you of your gnome duties, which to me, I thought you meant I'll like take you out so you get away from the gnomes. You were saying, have I offended her by calling her a gnome? The way I also can read it is, I'll relieve you of your gnome duties. Like, if you misread that, it could also be taken as, oh, I'll leave you alone. You know? I think you are doing it wrong. I think you are doing it wrong because you're not really saying anything that invites a response. Like, no worries, I can leave you your gnome. What are you supposed to say? I don't know what to say to you. So then, again, the onus is on me to come up with a conversation starter, to come up with a line that you can then bounce back off. You know? I think there's nothing wrong with coming up with something unconventional, being a bit weird. If anything, that's better. But to just say stuff that it's like, what am I supposed to say to that? Ask yourself that every time you message someone for the first time. What response do I expect them to give me? And that will maybe help to guide you a little bit, because like, see, the thing is as well, women factually just get a lot more matches than men. We just do. Call it fair or not, give it a reason or not, it's just what happens. Therefore, when multiple people message you shitty opening lines, oh, I can't be bothered. Why should I put in the effort of making a better conversation starter just to see whether or not your side of the conversation will improve. I've got all these other people in my inbox. I've dealt with all these other people that I've tried to make an effort with that turned out to be a waste of fucking time. Sorry, whether it's fair or not, I can't be bothered putting in the effort here when it seems as if you're not very good at having a conversation and I have other options. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's fair, maybe it's not, but it's the reality of the situation. So what that means is that you, unfortunately, need to do more to, I don't want to say impress, but you need to do more to open up the conversation and show that you're going to be a good person to talk to. You know what I mean? Because even if you don't want to end up talking, you need to be good to talk to. Do you know what I mean? You need to have some sort of like, not even game, but just like, yeah, be able to hold a conversation, or else it's not going to go anywhere regardless of what you want. So yeah, what question did you ask? Was she offended? Possibly. Are you doing it wrong? Yeah. And I hope my advice there helps you a little bit. Second last one. Running out of things to say on dates. OP is a 23-year-old male and says, went on first date with this match on Boo. What is Boo? They're coming out with all these other dating apps I've never heard of. Third match on Boo so far. And stood out when I went on a first date with this match on Boo and stood out when I began to run out of things to say. What stood out? I didn't stand out my first 2 dates. I don't understand the way you talk. I didn't stand out my first 2 dates with the other 2 different matches, but I'm feeling like running out of conversation has become a serious problem. I really don't want awkward silences either. How do I fix this? So are you saying that you've only been on 3 dates so far, but the dates that you have been on, you run out of conversations every time? That's not a good sign. How do you fix this? Well, the question is, are you a good conversationalist in general? Because you can be the best conversationalist in the world, but if you don't click with someone, if you don't have any connection with someone, you're not going to have anything to talk about. So if you're generally good at this, then I would just take that as there was no connection, it's not a good match, and it's fine. Find someone who is a good match. But if you're not good at it in general, then you can try and like exercise your social skills a little bit, whether that's like meeting new people more often, reading books, watching YouTube videos, joining like a Toastmasters group or something like that, building up your confidence, whatever. If you're not good at it in general, just work on that, just even for yourself, because it's very useful to be a good conversationalist, even if you're not a people person. But if in general you think you are good at it, then I don't think there's anything to fix. I think you're just not a good match. Okay? Because I think like if you are a good match with someone, like you just seem to talk about everything. It just comes so naturally. So yeah. Last one. Does a man owning a home make him significantly more attractive? To me, no, but to a lot of other people, unfortunately, yes. I know that for a fact. Sorry. I'm a 20-year-old male who's pretty average in looks. I've been single for close to 4 years and haven't dated much in the past year and a half because I bought a house and have been renovating in my free time. I've finally gotten most of the major things done and have had time to relax, so I've been going out to grab drinks on the weekends with friends the past couple months. On multiple occasions now, my group of friends has met groups of girls while out. I'm not super forward or charismatic like my friends, and most of the time none of the women seem that interested in me at the bar. Usually I'll invite everyone back to my house if we're having a good time, then all of a sudden girls that are way out of my league, looks-wise, will be super touchy or flirty, asking for my number or snap and wanting to stay the night. What gives? Yeah, what gives is that there's a certain type of person who are attracted to property and money and all the rest of it. Like, the ability to own a home changes dramatically based on like your context, your culture, your upbringing and whatnot. I owned my own home when I lived in Scotland. There's no way I could own my own home in Germany. I mean, I say there's no way. There's always a way, right? But there would be sacrifices that I'm not willing to make, such as getting yourself into literally 1 million euros of debt. Like, some people do it and that's fine for them, but for me, no. Where am I going with this? So whether or not you are able to own a home depends on many external factors and possibly internal factors. But at the end of the day, I think that whether you own a home or not doesn't say anything about who you are as a person and how attractive I'm going to be to you, towards you. But for other people, it is attractive to them. They want you to have your own home, they want you to have your own car, they want you to live by yourself, they want you to have a dog, whatever the case may be. There's just a certain type of person that's like that. If you're okay with that, then bask in it, whatever, use it to your advantage. If you're not okay with that, if you think that's a bit fucking shady, like, what now, so that you know you've got a house, now you're into me, I would be on that page, then take that as a sign of who you don't go for. Do you know what I mean? And be happy that they're showing their true colours earlier rather than later, so that you can basically just like be like, okay, I'm not interested in you dating wise. But yeah, does it automatically make you more attractive? No. Can it make you more attractive to some people? Yes. Sadly. That's the last one. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you agree with some of the stuff that I was saying there, if you would have any other advice to give to these people. Check out some of my other videos if you want. This will be the last one of today. Let's see when I'm back. Take care. In the meantime, thanks a lot for joining, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.